morning, good morning, good morning. I'm back. We've settled back into the UK now, so I've had delivery of a couple of bikes. I'm going to show you the first one today. It's the 2019 V-Strom 1000. It's the base model. I picked it up for a great price, under £8,000 in the UK. It's brand new. I managed to get a good deal on it, under eight grand. I did have a pre-order on a 1050 XT, the new one coming out in March, but I got this at such a good price that I just thought, it's not worth it. It's the same engine in the new model. It's a redesign, and it's got a TFT screen instead of this analog and digital dash. But the new features really were mostly sort of electronics like hill start assist and things like that. And also I noticed on the website the weight of this model is 233 kilograms, and I used to have the 650 XT, as you guys know, which was 216 kilograms, and the new one that's coming out in March is 250 something kilograms, so we're adding quite a bit of weight. So I stuck with this model, which is like 20 kilograms more. It's easy to handle, it's easy to push around. I put a center stand on it, and I've put heated grips on it. It is 10 degrees today, as you can see on the temperature there. So anyway, I'm going to take it out. We're going to go for a bit of a spin towards Wales. I'm in Cheshire, so we're going to go towards Wales, and I'll give you a quick overview of the bike. I've been out, I've done about 100 miles on it so far. Very happy with it. But yeah, let's hop on and go for a ride. I think I need to put some gas in, but I've got half a tank. We'll head towards Wales, and I'll find a gas station, a petrol station out that way. I'm all adventured up with a new Alpine Stars jacket, and I'm just dealing with the cold weather and the the fogging up of the screen that you get here. Anyway, let's go, and I'll switch back on once we get riding, and I'll let you know how the bike performs. Might have to go and put some petrol in first because it's 2 bars. And one thing I have noticed with this 1000 is that it does drink the petrol compared to the 650. Again, we've got our average fuel consumption here, and it's telling me it's 42, whereas the 650 you'd definitely be getting up higher than that. And I've only done 100 miles, and I put about 14 pounds in the other day, and it's down to 2 bars from pretty much a full tank. So it does drink the petrol a little bit more. It's not as efficient, but you have got 1000 cc's instead of you got 1037 cc on this bike instead of 650-ish on the other one that I had. Look, this lady's not looking. She's scary. Right. So whilst I'm just heading towards the petrol station on these slow little roads around town, we'll quickly talk about the ergonomics. It feels very, very similar to the 650. It's a very upright, neutral riding position, very comfortable seat. The seat height is 850 millimeters. That's 20 millimeters higher than the 650 at 830 millimeters. So, but I don't really notice it. I'm 6 foot. I've got a 34-inch inside leg, and I can comfortably flat foot this. Although I do tend to just go on the balls of my feet because of the positioning of the pegs. It's right where I want to put my feet. The seat itself is very comfortable. It's nice and wide at the back, and it narrows at the front. So if you haven't got quite as long legs as me, then you're still going to be able to get your feet down fairly well because it narrows at the front. So we'll just drive through beautiful little Nantwich, which is where I'm living now. Nice Tudor old buildings, very nice. So yeah, the ergonomics are very, very similar to the 650. The bars are nice and straight. You get plenty of purchase to sort of move you around the corners. In terms of the weight, I was saying that I bought this because the other one, the new model, is actually about 257 kilos, I think, which was a little bit more weight than I wanted to add. This one already feels solid enough. It's not too heavy, and when you're riding it, I really don't notice the extra 20 kilos compared to the 650. It doesn't feel particularly top heavy as long as you're used to sort of the adventure motorbike style. You got this big 20-litre fuel tank, and you need it because it does definitely drink the petrol a little bit. The tyres are nice and grippy. They're pretty quick to warm up, pretty decent in the wet. They're Bridgestones again, but they're different to the 650s models. We'll do a walk around as well. It does have the Suzuki Low Rpm Assist, so when you're pootling through town, it does just raise the revs by a few hundred, just to stop you from stalling. And also, I mean, you shouldn't be stalling anyway if you're riding a bike like this, but the one thing it does do is, look, I don't need to actually go on the throttle to start off. I can just slowly let the clutch out and it will just let me pull away nice and comfortably. When you're pootling through town, that is actually quite a nice feature. That's one thing to be aware of on the V-Strom 1000 over the 650 is it requires premium fuel. There we go. Full tank. What did that cost me? 15 quid. Not too bad, is it? It's a lot less than a car. Let's go. We're going to head out to out towards Wales. Actually, these are some of the roads I used to ride when I was a kid on like VFR 400 and stuff, so it'll be nice to get back on them. I had a really dry day yesterday and I wanted to I've got another bike which is a little bit faster than this, well, a lot faster than this, and I'll show you a video of that soon. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Some of you guys, if you follow my Facebook page, you'll know what it is, but that bike, oh my god, puts a big smile on my face. But I didn't want to bring it out today because of the wet weather, so I brought out the V-Strom instead. So in town, yeah, clutch is light. It's not a heavy clutch. It's nice and light, so it's no problem just dawdling around town if you want. The gearbox is really slick, really smooth, as I'd expect from Suzuki, to be honest. You know, everyone I've ever rode with Suzuki gearbox is beautiful. Really smooth, really positive, dead easy to find neutral when you want. The clutch, as I say, is nice and light, so driving it around town, and it doesn't feel heavy when you're going slow. It doesn't feel heavy. It's nice and maneuverable. Feels light when you're riding it, to be honest. Not super light, you know, but for an adventure tourer, it's not too bulky, not too heavy. One of the big bonuses on this one compared to the 650 is you've got this adjustable screen, and you don't need tools to adjust the angle of it. You do have a tool with an Allen key just to adjust the height, but you just push it and it comes all the way back in, and then you've got a couple of settings in between. I find the best setting is pushed as far out as possible, and I've adjusted it to be the tallest setting as well. Look at this nice little lake here. I took my daughter here the other day to feed the geese and the ducks and the swans. So yeah, it offers plenty of wind protection. Could possibly benefit from putting a slightly taller screen on if you want to. I don't think I'll bother, to be honest, because I am getting some air on the top of my helmet, but it is not it's not turbulent. I'm not particularly getting buffeting off it. It's breezy today, and I can feel the wind on the top of my helmet, but it's not bad at all, to be honest. There's a sign there for a secret bunker. I love that. It's not very secret anymore, is it? So in terms of ergonomics, it's very, very similar to the 650. Possibly not quite as flickable, but it's pretty close, and it's plenty flickable enough. I've taken it, obviously I'm on braking period, only having done 100 odd miles so far, so I haven't thrashed the engine yet. But yeah, look, I'm 34-inch inside leg, flat foot on both sides, or I can just balls with the feet here, but flat foot's very comfortable there because the seat's so narrow at the front. All this switch gear is pretty basic, but feels very nice. It all feels in the right place. It's really easy to, you know, get your fingers crossed, and it's easy to just switch out your digital dash display to what you want. So I can just flick through it if I want by pressing down. I don't know whether you can see that because the GoPro's so far away, but it's telling me I've got 191 miles on a full tank here, but we have just come through town, so that will improve as we go along. It's also telling me the voltage of the battery. You have got a 12-volt socket there, so you could charge up your devices with that. I'll probably stick a sat-nav on at some point. It tells you your current fuel consumption. I got mine in miles per gallon, but you can again switch that to kilometers or metric or whatever you want if you're in a different country. And then it's going to tell me my average fuel consumption, and then back to my range. And then you've got the two-mode traction control by pressing select here on the little controller, and you can switch between 1 and 2, I can switch that if the throttle position is closed, so thanks to the guy on YouTube who mentioned that for the 650, because I didn't realize that. So I'll just close the throttle position and I can flick up to 1 there and then press select and I come out of it. So I'm on traction control 1, which is the more sort of sporty dry weather riding mode. And then obviously you've got your trip meter, 2 trip meters and odometer up the top. This display does everything you need it to do. It's got a lovely large analog tacho, which I like. And then it's got all the information and it's well laid out, you know, gear position indicator and your speedo is the largest in the displays there. So it's plenty big enough for you to just quickly glance down and see. And then all your other information, if you want it, is there. You know, air temperature as well, 11 degrees at the moment, so nice and balmy. Okay, so that's all the sort of boring stuff out of the way in terms of ergonomics. Obviously the pillion seat's fantastic as well, and it comes with a rear luggage rack. But let's talk about the interesting stuff, the bike. So the engine, so you've got a 1037cc V-twin engine. It makes a lovely rumble, even though, and I'll show you when we do a walk around in a bit, even though the exhaust is bloody huge. I mean, it is massive. I reckon I could probably sit in it and sail it to America. The rumble it makes when you accelerate is fantastic. It does sound nice. It's got that lovely deep V-twin rumble. The power, we'll do it in a minute. I'll overtake some of these in a minute when I've stopped talking. The power is nice. There's plenty of torque. It revs lower than the 650. The 650 revs to a 10,500 redline. This is just over 9,000 redline. But the torque comes on from very low down. Maximum torque on this engine comes at 4,000 RPM, and I think it's something like 100 Newton meters of torque. It's a very, very smooth engine, and the power's just there as soon as you want it. And there's plenty of power to overtake even. I mean, this bike, honestly, I could ride this bike in 4th gear for 90% of what I do. And the power there, in terms of the torque, is smooth, it's linear, and it's right there. There's no delay. The throttle action's very, very smooth, so it's there immediately as soon as you want it, but it's not jerky at all. It's a really smooth bike to ride. If you just want one bike for doing everything, this bike is fantastic. It's a very civilized bike to ride, but you can also open it up and have a little bit of fun if you want. You're not going to shit yourself going from the 650 to the 1000, if I'm perfectly honest with you. You're not going to notice it huge. It's not hugely different. I was surprised at how similar they felt. Look, now we're at 4,000 or 5,000 revs. I don't know whether it picks it up on this mic, but the rumble from behind your ass it's nice, and it just vibrates a little bit. Not vibrating through the bars, but you can just feel the grumble of the engine as it picks up. So the engine's fantastic, but it's just a bit. It just basically, if you've ridden the 650, the 1000 just gives you a bit more of that. That's all it is. It's not hugely different. You're not going to jump on the 1000 and go, oh my god, it's 1000cc. It's got plenty, but it's more of the same of what the 650 gives you. I'm having to open and close my visor here just to get rid of steam every now and again. And you don't feel like you need to be changing gears much on this bike, to be honest. Like, I was sat in 3rd then, and it was comfortable going along at 50 mile an hour, and now I've just dropped it up to 4th, knocked it up to 4th, and it's I could stay in this all day on these roads. I can put it up to 5th if I want to try and save some gas, some petrol. I'm in the UK now. I'll stop using American terms. But even in 5th gear here at 60 miles an hour, if I just go on the throttle, it picks up straight away. There's no delay. It's really smooth. So I'll go on to the other things about the 1000 that are different, because a lot of people, I reckon, will probably like me. I was thinking, shall I pick up another 650 or shall I go for the 1000? And to be honest, it's the price that clinched it for me on this. This was only £1,000 more than a 650 model. It was heavily discounted. Thanks to Millennium Motorcycles in St Helens and to Callum for sorting me out with this deal. Big shout out to those guys who were brilliant to deal with, by the way. Everything done by email. I could phone them if I wanted to. Got the bike delivered to me on time, exactly when they said. Gave me a great deal, and I'll actually be picking up another bike from them next month in March. So thanks Callum, and thanks Millennium Motorcycles in St Helens. Check those guys out because they have some of the best prices on motorbikes that I've seen anywhere in the UK. And not only that, but they're great to deal with as well, so you're not getting short-changed in terms of customer service, but you're just getting a fantastic deal. The other big two differences that I see are the suspension. The suspension on this is fully adjustable at the front, so you can adjust down here. So you've got your dampening, compression, preload adjustment, so you can set it up exactly how you want it, and you can change it depending on whether you've got a pillion on it, how you want to be riding, what roads you're going on and all that, so that's fantastic. As stock, it's set up pretty nicely. I think I must be a pretty standard at sort of 80 kilos or 85 kilos and 6 foot, so I must fit into their sort of pretty standard setup model. It's very compliant. You feel like it's not it feels taut enough going around the corners. I don't feel like it's wallowing or anything like that. When I accelerate and when I brake, the front forks dip a little, but not too much. But you can change that as well if you want to. So that's a big advantage over the 650 if you're doing lots of different types of riding. And then, my God, this visor's steaming up. And then also the brakes. And this, for me, if there's any reason to choose the 1000 over the 650, it's definitely the brakes. The brakes are much better. They're 4-pot calipers, and they've got a much better initial bite than the 650s, and the power comes on very, very smoothly and progressively, and there's a lot of feel on them. They feel so much better than the 650s. That is the one thing I think alone, for the £1,000 extra I paid for this bike over a 650, that's the one improvement that I'm like, that's where the money is. That's where you're paying for better quality. Look, I can just come in, I'm still on the brakes very slightly there around the corner, but I've got a lovely feel on the brake. It's so progressive and smooth. It gives you really good feedback. So that's a huge improvement. So they're dual 310mm discs up front on a 4-pot caliper. I'll show you them in a minute. They're Toxico or Toxico or however you bloody say it. But they're very, very good brakes. They're not bitingly sharp like a Brembo or something like that, but they're very, very good. They give you plenty of stopping power. The back brake is just, your standard back brake. It's adequate. It's visors. I got a pin lock insert on this visor, but my God, it's pathetic. Here we go. Here's the power. I'm up to 7,000. Oh, one thing I didn't mention on the ergonomic side of things is the mirrors. Yeah, they're pretty beastly barn door things, but they work incredibly well. They give you a great view of everything. Going over those horrible bumps in the road there, the bike absorbs them pretty well, even when you're sort of leaning in. So it's incredibly comfortable, this bike. I reckon I could tour Europe on this easily. If you want a bike that does everything, you can tour on this. You can stick a load of luggage on it. It'll be comfortable for commuting. Although if you're doing a commute every day, I'd be tempted to go for the 650, to be honest, just because the fuel consumption is that much better, and it will still commute very nicely. Wrexham, Oswestry, that's where we're going. Yeah, and it's still got enough power to be fun. I look at this bike and I just, when it's in my garage, and I just think, I can go anywhere I want now. If I fill this tank up, I can do anything I want. I could go to France, Spain, Italy, Germany, and look, the balance of it's very nice as well. Even though it's an adventure tourer bike, it doesn't feel like tippy when you come in slow traffic and anything like that. Going around town and stuff, just doesn't feel slow. Ducati Multistrada! Woo! Quite nice. The insurance for this with B-Moto, and it's their titanium cover. 38 years old, no claims. I've had my bike license since 2002. It's cost me £600 to insure this bike for the year. This is not an expensive bike to insure, considering I've got no claims discount. Oh, and another great thing about the V-Strom is this engine is tried and tested. I think you've gone the wrong way, mate. You are pretty much in the middle of a roundabout. I wonder what these bikes are behind me. I'm going to pull in here. I'm going to do a little walk around here. GSXR. Not exactly sports bike weather day, is it? Right guys, so I've stopped here. I'm on the way up the Horseshoe Pass. I'm gonna do a walk around for you of the bike. So it is the, as I said, 2019 V-Strom 1000. Still got the lights on, it's just a normal bulb. As standard, it comes with the handguards and a plastic undercowling here, which just keeps some of the dirt off the front of the engine. And also your oil filter is just down in here, so it's going to keep stones and crap from flying up and hitting your sensitive oil filter and that. There's the big 1037cc V-twin engine, huge stock exhaust, which is now filthy, but it's a nice looking bike. I think it's a nice looking bike in black for an adventure tour. It's a nice styled bike. We've got the twin 310mm discs up front here, 4-pot calipers, and they're Tokiko. And we've got the adjustable shock with the adjustment here, just down there. You can see it, and on this side you can just see it down there. We've got the pretty standard dash, which is similar to the 650 XT with your analog tacho and then your digital readout for gear position indicator, speedo, and then you've got all the other information like your trip meters, traction control settings, air temperature, clock, and then all your settings at the bottom for like average fuel consumption, current fuel consumption, battery voltage meter, and range until empty. Pretty standard, simple switch gear. Not a lot going on there really. Starter button, hazard warning light, and kill switch. And over here we've got the mode select for your information readout over here. Indicators, horn, and I've added the Oxford heated grips, which I haven't really used that much, just once so far. Nice, comfortable, big seat. Narrows at the front nicely. And then obviously a rack comes as standard. Battle Wing, Bridgestone Battle Wing tyres. Seem pretty decent on road, off road the shit. I've just used them and I was sliding all over the place. So I just have a walk around. I've added a centre stand to mine, which I would consider essential for maintenance on a bike like this. It's a pretty heavy old lump at 233 kilograms to flick up onto that centre stand, but it's not unwieldy to sort of move around. You've got your preload adjustment on the rear shock there, and this fantastic adjusting screen, which is toolless adjustment for the position. So you just push it out and it either glides its way back into the rearmost position, or you just push it out a little bit. I keep it on the furthest out setting, and then you can adjust with the tools with the Allen key that comes in the Suzuki toolbox, which is in the back, and then you can adjust the height of the screen as well. That's it. So I hope you enjoyed the review. Overall, it's a fantastic bike. This was just a quick sort of first ride review, or it was meant to be, although it's lasted pretty long. I will go into more detail, and I'll be doing a lot more rides on this bike this year, basically. Hopefully taking it on a few tours, going to possibly Europe, Scotland, a few other places, but we'll see as we go along. But I'm really happy with the bike. The only thing I would look to improve on this bike really is the fuel consumption. It's not as efficient as it could be, so I'm not getting huge mileage out of the tank. But it is a 1037cc engine, so I wouldn't expect amazing miles per gallon. But overall, it's a great bike. It's really comfortable to ride. It's got plenty of power. The brakes are nice. The brakes are the big advantage over the 650 for me. You have got as well adjustable clutch and adjustable brake lever. The brakes are just 5 positions and the clutch 4 positions. As it came from standard, I've got medium hands in a glove, but they're quite small hands, and I had to adjust them to make them comfortable. They were too far out for me. So yeah, overall, I'm loving this bike, and please subscribe and stay tuned, because there's going to be a lot more videos coming soon on this bike, and also there will be some more videos coming on the other bike that I've bought, which is a little bit more nippy and a little bit more fun, and so I'll bring you those videos soon. And that's pretty much all I've got to say to you.